tell me more about the mythologizing of Jay-Z and Beyonce
The
as
mythologizing?
rap royalty.
I don't know where to start.
I mentioned to you the other day that the song Bonnie and Clyde '03,
yeah.
which don't put a year in the title of your song unless it's in the year 2525.
Right.
Was 15 years old, and we were talking about their relationship. You're like, they had some ups and downs.
Yep.
I'm like, ups and downs? What are you talking about? You treat it like it's some sweeping love story or something. And I'm not saying that they're not in love. I'm not.
Right.
I think it's great that they're together, but it's 50% a business decision and 50% not, right?
You think so?
Sure.
Okay.
Like, look at, oh boy, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but look at Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner.
Oh, boy.
Isn't it good for their brand to be together?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
But they're not because Ben has substance abuse problems.
Among other things.
Yeah. Which he shouldn't, I'm not judging him. I'm just giving the circumstances that would make their relationship difficult.
Right.
And so there you go. Like, they're not together.
Right.
But it looks bad. And now he's off, banging Playboy models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is what he's supposed to do.
Is it?
Again, I'm making no moral choice, but you have access to people who want to do things with you and use the word you more times. And they've even had the ups and downs that you refer to. They've even had a very public thing.
Yeah.
But they turned it into art.
Yeah.
Are they just better people, like better artists, better ingredients, Papa John's, or are they...
I think it was important to Beyonce to stay together to
for the kids.
Pull through for the kids, but also like I think she really loves Jay-Z and like.
See, but you already have this romantic. Do you see what I mean?
I guess.
I look at it like, yeah, okay, they're artists, so that's a sacred thing, and she's not going to let something happen to her and not turn her pain into art. Mm-hmm. But also, as Queen Bee, she's not going to let something like that happen to her and let it just play out in tabloids. She's going to change the conversation and the narrative, and she's going to get on top of it and blow a car up, while she's walking down the street.
Right, exactly. And I mean,
you're just so cool with all of this.
They're on tour right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be amazing to go see.
She's got him in a turquoise suit.
Oh my gosh.
Walking around.
Wow.
You're the immovable object. I'm the unstoppable force.
Okay.
Because I just have so many opinions about this. And I say I'm not judging. I don't know, maybe 2% an opinion is too, at least, it's a soupçon of judging. But I just want to talk about, and you're just like, yeah, I just see him as like, your opinion is set. They are, I think they are enshrined for you.
I guess so.
And I'm not calling you out specifically.
They
I think
are music royalty.
Yeah, but even just saying that, like, I feel like so many other fans feel that way, and that's where you want to get. Mm-hmm. That's our goal.
Okay.
So, go blow up a car and I'll film it.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
And just kind of saunter down the street.
Sure.
In
a yellow dress.
In a big bird dress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Big Bird. She wears it well.
She does.
But it's like, whoa, Sesame Street, directed by
Walking
Michael
down
Bay.
The street. Yeah.
Oscar's trash can shoots into the sky on a pillar of fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned Jennifer Garner. Do you want to talk about Jennifer Garner?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of do.
Go for it.
Because she's got this movie coming out called Peppermint.
Yes. Her baby's got peppermint in her blood.
They're really pushing it, too. Like, her husband and her daughter were killed in front of her, and she was injured, but she survived, and the system is corrupt. They're not going
like
to...
laughably corrupt.
Yes.
Like the judge is like... Oh, like big wink to the defense counsel, who's like turns around to the gallery where there's a bunch of guys, with pasta sauce on their shirts, smoking cigars. They're like, oh.
Exactly.
Although it's not that, though. I think that it's the Mexican drug cartels.
Yes.
So maybe it's... I already did one. Let's just keep being racist. It's, enchilada sauce on their shirts. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Well, she, picks these guys out of a lineup, and they're obviously guilty, and they don't get any time in jail and everything. So she disappears and goes off the grid and, practices kung fu or something. knife usage and shooting a gun, and like then she comes back 5 years later and she's taking revenge. She's taking them out one by one. Right. And to me,
or by 3 by 3.
Oh yeah.
Or sure. 14 by 27.
You get it's a punch out card. You get something free if you.
It's like a Subway Club card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But to me, it just seems like it's a female Punisher. I mean, it even happens at a carnival. There's a carousel.
Put 2.5 jokes in that trailer.
Yeah.
It might be a high budget SNL digital short.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for my money, which I don't think it's going to get my money unless I hear that it's a real stupid good time. It's just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's literally by Pierre Morel, the guy that did Taken. So
yes.
He's just doing, what about Lady Taken?
Yeah. Except they're not just taken away from you and you get them back because you're Liam Neeson.
Right.
They're killed in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which has been done. It's, like you said, The Punisher, Jodie Foster in The Brave One. Wasn't that a thing where she's going to get him, do it? But I think that one is more about how violence begets violence and how revenge can consume you. And I'm sure this will flirt with that, but it's really just Jennifer Garner wanted to do an action pick.
Kicking ass, yeah.
And I want to talk about Jennifer Garner's career for a second.
Okay.
I mean, she's literally going, I don't know how old she is. Probably pretty young comparatively, but she's going I guess 38 is the male 64 or whatever Liam Neeson is. Can she just not, she has such a weird career arc. If she did this immediately after Alias, you'd be like, okay, take off the go-go boots and whatever you had on Alias, but it's a little more gritty.
Right.
But she's still action. But then she went immediately into romantic comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Where she literally played a girl in a woman's body.
Yes.
And then it was all before her time, in Hollywood terms, playing moms, young moms or aspiring moms.
Mm-hmm.
Mom.
Yep.
Mom with a gun.
Yes.
And just the laughable, oh, let's get some ice cream. My little girl likes ice cream and peppermint. Oh, my God.
I know.
I wanted to point out, because this
ridiculous.
Is sometimes a comic book show, it's very similar to Brian Bendis's icon character, Scarlet.
Oh, okay.
Where she is just a chick doing her thing, and her boyfriend is killed, and she wakes up from a coma. She was injured, and she's out. She's going to get the dirty cops that did the thing.
Sure.
And it didn't really go anywhere, like a lot of Brian Bendis things, but also he was trying to incorporate what do you call it? Grassrooting on the internet, this was at the time of Occupy Wall Street and all that, and so it was she was also getting this because they stick this landing in the trailer where they're people love her on social media. She's a murder suspect. They don't think so.
Right.
Well, she is.
Yeah,
but
she's killed people.
Yeah, and so there's it doesn't seem like the movie's gonna deal with that morality, or maybe only in a superficial way. But Scarlet, I think, got a little too hot. Also, Bendis, had a million other books to write, and now he's not even with Marvel, so I don't think it'll ever get finished. But it was optioned at one point. And the poster for the movie has Jennifer Garner with, these bloody wings behind her, because that's a thing.
What?
And I swear there's a Scarlet cover that does the exact same thing.
Oh, my gosh.
So I don't know if...
She's like the angel of death?
Bendis sues her, or Marvel sues him, or...
Wow.
Yeah, she's the angel of death. But it's a red wall... or a white wall and red wings, so Peppermint. Why call it Peppermint? The juxtaposition. I mean, Taken tells you something. Taken, scary.
Yeah, right. I think Peppermint takes something innocent and fun.
I love you, Mommy.
And then makes it cynical and sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why they called it Peppermint.
Because she loves peppermint.
Yeah, I know.
Or they jam that in. Make sure you say peppermint 47 times before your little daughter gets killed.
Yeah, exactly.
But will appear in visions throughout the film.
Right.
This just seems real basic to me.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
Kill him with pumpkin spice lattes. I could go for a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, me too.
Run out and get one. This
Okay.
is Just Enough Joe podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
And we did it.
What did we do?
We made a mistake.
We did?
Yeah.
What was the mistake?
When looking for something to speak on this week,
Oh.
I wish we had done a whole show. We still can, about Peppermint.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
No.
That's not what happened.
No, it's not what happened at all.
We went. Sometimes the journey is the destination, and that's kind of where we found ourselves. How do you even get people to stick around for the end? Let's just say that we're going to talk about the new release, "The Night Is Short," Walk On Girl.
Yeah.
And the director Masaaki Yuasa,
Yeah.
who directed that and some of his work.
Mm-hmm.
I guess nominally you could say the show is about that.
Yes.
But it's really more of a series of mistakes and a comedy of errors.
Yes.
In which you and I labored to find an angle for this week's show.
Yes.
And the angle became us trying to find an angle.
Right.
And if that entices you, I don't think we've ever gone that deep down the Medianus Trench before.
Right.
But if you want to follow us down, keep listening. And we'll do a little news as well.
All right.
And what's going on? How you doing?
I'm
just still thinking about what a disaster.
I'm doing good.
We're gonna,
despite our mishap.
Yes.
So
when life gives
mishaps.
you bloody peppermint,
Yes.
you make bloody peppermintaid. Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Is there
it a Bloody Mary with
peppermint
peppermint in it?
No, that would be like a mojito,
Okay.
right? That'd be like, it's kind of like a mint aid.
Sure.
It's citrusy. It's got mint.
Yep.
And muddled. Yeah.
Or a mint julep or something.
Yeah, mint julep's a little less light because it's bourbon,
True.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. My drink recipes. Did I ever tell you about the time that I, when I was working with a traveling theater company, my partner we worked during the school year because we traveled to schools and do, hey kids, stay off drugs.
Right.
But better than that, but still. And she was looking for a summer job, and she got a summer job at a resort.
Okay.
So she's going to work there. It's the kind of thing you can make a National Lampoon movie out of. Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like rich white people come there, and the people that work there are all just kids who are going to get in trouble at night and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't have that part of the story. Here's the part of the story I have. She was going to bartend, and she didn't have any bartending experience. I don't know how she got the job, but good for her. And so she needed help learning drink recipes.
Okay.
And so when we would travel, and there was a lot of driving in this job, we would drive all over the Midwest,
Sure.
hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours from school to school. So we needed time to occupy ourselves. So I had to help her learn drink recipes with like flashcards. You
Okay.
know? So what's here, Harvey Wallbanger? Here's a tough one: slow, comfortable screw up against the wall. You know, and just by osmosis, because I see something and I just instantly remember it.
Yes.
I had like a pretty good category or library of drink recipes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's worthless.
I was going to say, hopefully you can use that
Can't do
skill
one. Maybe I
someday.
should. Maybe I should get a job as a bartender.
Yeah, there you go. That's an interesting story. I don't.
No smartphones back then.
No.
And even if there were, we would have been in, no cell phone.
Bug tussle.
Okay, let's not give any commercials out on this show. But yeah, you get off the beaten path.
Off the grid, if you will. Yeah.
You obsessed with grids? Why a grid?
I don't know. I feel like Google's on a grid.
Well, you love waffles, but is that what that means?
I don't know.
These waffles are off the grid.
They're off the grid.
And
Off the grid.
You do like a spiral waffle. This is like clearly I want to work PR for Denny's. Do advertising for them. Let's talk about the news.
All right.
Well, following up on something that we talked about in week previous, looks like Crazy Rich Asians is getting crazy rich at the box office. Can we do that again? We'll do it live. It made another $25 million on 3,500 screens this week, and it had a 6% drop-off, which
That's minuscule, really.
Yep. Like Infinity War does like a 33 to 45% drop-off. And
exactly.
still makes $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And so this is this is crazy.
This is huge.
And they're getting rich.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wonder if this movie's opening in Asia. Is it international?
It should open in Asia. We do gangbusters over there, I feel like.
So. Except apparently a lot of, and this might just be BuzzFeedy type stuff, but apparently a lot of like native Singaporeans are like, it's not like that. It's not like that.
I could see that.
Also, there's the whole human rights abuses thing.
What are you talking about?
Singapore? They need to clean. They got to clean their act up a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not doing too good.
Okay.
They're no Saudi Arabia, but
they're just
not a political show.
No.
Just pointing something.
Factory workers? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm not. It's a fun film.
It is a fun film. And it's about crazy rich Asians, so you don't see any of the.
That's another thing that people are complaining about too, is that it's just. Yeah, I mean, you could set it anywhere if you had $1 billion in your bank account.
Yeah, all right.
How are we supposed to identify with a character who, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, walks in and goes, "How much are these earrings? 2.3? I'll take them."
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you know how crazy rich these Asians are.
I know, but it's just such a light movie, I feel like, in a lot of ways. Light and fun. Light
like a crepe that you would have at a Singaporean food stall.
Yes,
I'm just assuming that they have crepes.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming.
They do in Japan, so I'm assuming they have them.
I saw this post. I won't say where.
Okay.
It was on a bathroom wall.
Okay.
Of some guy just got back from Japan or still lives there, and he was like, "You guys like Japan food porn? Check this out." And then he just had like 25, 30 pictures of like all these different foods that he'd had.
Okay.
And probably should save this for later because we're going to talk about this later. But,
right.
And it was like, whoa, that's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But I have to wonder, this is a question, again, that I was going to say later, but I'll just say it now. How do you know what's good?
With Japanese food or just in general? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like if you go to, what's the famous district called?
There's a lot of famous districts.
The one for partying, little something on the side.
Shibuya.
Shibuya.
Yeah.
Shibuya is like a train station, isn't it?
There's a train station, but it's an area of Tokyo.
I'll think of what I'm thinking eventually, but I don't want to bore the listeners.
Okay.
But you see, movies there, or you can. I like to go on Google Maps, like the Street View, and see how lost I can get.
Okay. I bet you could get pretty lost
because it's just noodle shop over and over and over again.
Yeah.
How do you know what the best one is? Are they all? Is it the recipe or is it the person making it?
It's a little bit of both, I think. I think you just give it a shot. You can try it. And...
This guy's like the yakitori, good stuff. This guy skimps, not so good.
Right, exactly. It's like trial and error, word of mouth,
cheesy signs, and how would you even know?
I think word of mouth is huge, and you kind of go by that. And I don't know. One time when I was in Japan, we had hosted a girl for a whole school year, and I was visiting her family. In Japan, and they took me to a local sushi shop, which was not far from their house, and they knew the sushi chef, and they're like, "This guy is really good."
Now you're getting into another film we're going to talk about.
I know. And we were sitting at the sushi bar, and he was making things right in front of us, and talking to them, and chatting, and he even did the blowfish that
fugu.
Fugu. That is poisonous if you don't cut it correctly. And I actually had it. So that was pretty cool.
You have to have it's not as dangerous as people say.
No,
but you do have to have like a certification,
proper skills,
which is probably just like an insurance thing more than anything else.
Yeah.
Am I numb?
Right, exactly.
This is great. We'll come back here. Shinjuku.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is all Crazy Rich Asians, right? Okay,
yeah.
We got to rewind out of this. Let's move on to some other news. As has been predicted.
Yes.
I won't play the theme.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is on hold.
I had heard that.
Put it on hold.
Yeah.
A temporary
Not
hold,
surprising.
they say. But
yeah,
you got a
that's what they
2020 release date to hit. and there is a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, because they don't have a director right now, so they're putting it on hold.
And you have to wonder if I feel like Dave Bautista is a pretty good guy. I don't know his personal life, so I don't want to get caught out. But he's definitely a guy. He's the guy. Oh boy, isn't the big guy supposed to be the guy that's like, you got your posse, right? You're in Shinjuku. Somebody spills noodles on you.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, man, and he's just the guy that's like puts his dinner plate sized hand on your chest and is like, come on, it's not worth it. Because these guys aren't going to look at me. They're not going to attack us. Look at me.
Right.
Flip flop, Freaky Friday. He's the guy that's like,
he's hulking out
on Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's tweeting up a storm.
Yeah. That's probably not what you want to be doing.
If they let him go, does he get paid still? Is it a pay or play?
Oh, boy. I don't know.
Does he want to do something else now?
I think he still wants to. I mean, it'd be stupid to not want to do the movie.
Yeah, but no, it's 5 hours of makeup.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Hotel Artemis shot up the charts, so we know that he's a talent.
I know.
I like him.
I think he's got potential to do other things, but I'd like to see him be in Guardians 3.
Right, but he should take the lesson of his castmates of just
play
do
cool.
what Chris Pratt does.
Yeah.
Tweet a Bible verse and
boy.
don't say anything else. Do you know what I mean? Because he's the guy that's going to be, if he gets a reputation for being a problem,
then they're going to let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, anyway, if you can find him at all.
Yeah.
He's invisible. He moves so slowly.
Right, exactly.
You can't even see him. I wanted to mention really fast that some some Reddit users who are Marvel fans have come up with a spreadsheet. This story reached, I saw this on a couple different outlets.
Weird.
It's in the Marvel Studios subreddit, and I put a link to it in the show notes, of all the kills in Marvel films.
Oh.
Everybody who's dies
died.
is confirmed to die.
Oh, wow.
And who does the deed.
Wow.
And it's
somebody spent a lot of time doing that.
But not though, because it's just a link to a Google spreadsheet with no bells and whistles. It's just, if you were going to like make a grocery list and Excel is all you had in front of you, that's what you have.
Wow.
So that's what we got.
All right.
And
I bet it's mostly bad guys too.
It's a lot of bad guys. Of course, Thanos runs away with it.
Yeah, of course he does.
Just half the universe.
Yeah.
Put that on his tab. But surprisingly, Pepper Potts is tied with Killmonger.
Really? When she had the juice in her or whatever?
Well, that was good juice. I mean, a lot of the villains, like Ultron's got more than a few on his tab.
Yeah, for sure.
Loki has killed more people than you think. But as far as like the non-powered superheroes or villains, yeah, they're both tied with 2. She kills
weird.
the Ironmonger in Iron Man 1, and she kills Killian in Iron Man 3.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought Killmonger had way more kills than that, judging from his skin when he was saying each one of these dots.
Yeah. We're talking about named characters.
Okay.
This is like a murder Bechdel test.
Okay.
Have to have a name.
I'm not just going to believe.
It just proves how dumb that Iron Man 2 is. It's because the villain kills himself. What else is going on? Bond is in trouble.
Yes.
But not from a death trap.
No. Yeah, Danny Boyle has left Bond.
Over creative differences.
Yes. Which is, I mean, come on now. Creative differences with the Broccolis, that's probably, it's pretty well known that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Sam Mendes
stuck around as long as he did.
What I think about is I'm not a big Sam Mendes fan.
No.
I think that stuff's fine.
Sure.
I mean, he's not making Peppermint. Do you know what I mean? But I've never been really blown away or moved by any of his films.
No.
So maybe he's just kind of the workaday auteur,
Yeah.
I'm going to do like a adaptation of a graphic novel, or I'm going to do, who's asking for Revolutionary Road? Nobody.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying it's a bad film or that it shouldn't have been made, but it's like, where'd that come from?
Right.
So maybe he's a guy who's just creatively flexible.
That could be.
And he made 2 Bond films. But
Yeah.
Danny Boyle, who also I feel like has flexibility.
Yeah.
Right? Not
yeah.
this time.
Nope.
Nope.
Creative differences.
What do you think the breaking point was?
Probably he
No
wanted
dance number.
He probably wanted to do his own take on Bond, and they were probably like, "No, this is on rails. This is what you have to do."
Right.
You know,
No flashbacks, no flash ups or
Right.
stuff, and yeah. Bond can't climb into a toilet. There's absolutely no way. We're not doing that.
right, exactly. But I don't know. I think that directors, when they want to do their own take on things, and then they leave over creative differences, it's because they weren't able to do their vision or what have you. Like,
yeah, or they need the money.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who he's always going to be able to get money.
Right.
The multiple Oscar winner, I think.
Right.
So it's not a problem. A director that we'll talk about later. We failed in the structure as well. This should be all out of place. We should chop this up.
Well, I think we're chopping it up now.
About. Yeah, I guess we kind of are. You'll know what it means. You'll have the context.
Yeah.
By the end.
That's right.
This person made a very successful film, very well regarded, in order to make his next film, which we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And we didn't like.
Exactly.
Context later.
Yeah.
And he considers that his bank robbery movie. Like, he basically robbed a bank in order to fund this next film.
Right.
That's not Danny Boyle's problem.
No.
So he has the power to just
money.
go, yeah, I'm gone.
So he can choose. He can pick and choose what he works on for sure.
Yeah. Did we talk about the Big Bang ending?
I don't think we did.
Big Bang's ending.
Yeah. Yay!
I feel like only a couple months ago they announced 2 more years for everybody's contract.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what happens? Do they just pay or play?
I guess
Do
so.
they get paid for seasons 13 and 14 or whatever?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Reportedly, Jim Parsons is done, and when Sheldon's
That's what I
done,
heard.
it's over.
Yeah.
So
You can't really do the show without Sheldon. You think so? I don't know.
The Hogan family. You can Hogan family that shit.
I guess. But it's been
Roseanne.
on for 12 years. It's the longest running
it's long.
multi-camera
Yes.
comedy.
This is Weekend at Bernie's 5. You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
No tears shed from me.
No. Looks like the Doctor Who production has announced all the writers and directors for their new series.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if this is it spoiled just to say he was going to work on something?
Geez, I don't know. I feel like it's common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So
I won't say that there's any real I don't know, you can look it up online. There's no real celebrities.
Okay.
As far as I can tell.
Okay.
But there's a YA author, and there are some other people who have worked on other BBC and sort of British stuff.
Sure.
Same thing with the directors. It just seems like they are cleaning house.
Okay. All right.
Which is probably good.
Bringing new people in, that's always good.
Yeah.
It is a new series, so having some fresh new writers and directors in there is good, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do a good job. I've got my fingers crossed.
When people hate it, and they will, what do? You just keep on plugging, right?
I think you keep on plugging, and I think even if you don't love it, I think you need to be supportive of it because, we finally have a female doctor.
Yeah. And
we want to see more stuff like this. So I think it deserves our support.
I agree. I should have mentioned that Jean-Marc Vallée, who directed Dallas Buyers Club, The Young Victoria, which you made me watch many years ago, is possibly in line to direct the Bond film. And Edgar Wright.
Okay.
No.
Edgar Wright.
Creative differences.
Yeah, I was just going to say the exact same thing.
That's got to be one of those.
I was thinking of him when
we need another name.
I know. I was thinking of him when we were talking about Danny Boyle leaving. So
we'll see. Can you imagine?
I don't know.
Onomatopoeia on screen when Bond's shooting somebody? It's the silencer from the Walther PPK.
Snipe while he's using a sniper rifle. Yeah.
We'll see about that. Bewitched is the next old TV show that's in line for a reboot.
Oh, boy.
It's got a commitment at ABC, And it's going to be by Kenya Barris, who's Blackish, the creator of Blackish.
Okay.
And it will be an interracial family.
Okay.
If Kenya Barris wants to make a movie about a black person casting spells,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
okay,
Right.
go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a real... People didn't like The Princess and the Frog. People were real
Yeah.
sad about that.
That's true.
Worried about that.
Yeah.
But if Kenya Barris wants to do it, then I guess we're all right.
Then we get the kiss of approval.
I mean,
I know.
I trust them to either be sensitive or to own something.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Bewitched?
I did watch Bewitched.
I loved
actually
Bewitched when I was a kid.
I liked it a lot too.
Both Darrens. I don't care. I don't want to pick. And Agnes Moorehead was like the best mother-in-law on TV.
Yeah. That was
Bewitched
a pretty good
podcast.
show.
You heard it right here. What's it called?
Bewitching?
Ugh.
No.
Nice. That's a real Slate podcast title. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Bewitched a lot.
The two Darrens.
I used to watch it quite a bit when I was younger.
Okay. Cool. You got me there.
I loved Genie. I also watched that a lot.
I like Larry Hagman. He's a lot more talented than I think people give him credit for. Mm-hmm. Just being JR all those years, like he's a real comedic talent. Look, I will do a '60s sitcom podcast. Don't think I won't.
That could be interesting.
I know the whole history of Green Acres.
I was just
and
thinking
Petticoat
of Green
Junction.
Acres. Petticoat Junction. I never watched, but I've seen the opener because of you.
I apologize. We're gonna save our apologies for the end because it's coming.
All right.
That's pretty much it for the news, I think. It looks like Veronica Mars is nearing a revival deal at Hulu.
I heard that. With
Kristen Bell?
Kirsten Bell.
I know it's not gangbusters, but you don't need to do this.
No, you don't.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I've got all the DVDs. I've seen the show probably a dozen times straight
Yeah,
through.
it's great.
You
It's
don't need
fantastic.
to do this.
She doesn't need to go back and doing this.
Yeah, you can stop.
Yeah. I heard Rob Thomas is going to
Plus, they already
produce.
wrecked. Yeah, well, of course he is. Plus, they already wrecked it with that horrible, horrible film.
The movie was not great.
No, if you had just not done the movie, she could just wake up in her bed and go, oh, what a crazy, horrible 10-year reunion that would have been. And then go to her job at the FBI like we want.
Exactly.
Well, the best news of all, it looks like Brendan Fraser will be back on your screen soon. He's been cast as Robot Man in the Doom Patrol DC Universe TV show network series. Okay.
All right. We have not seen him in a while. You are correct. I wonder why that is.
There is a story. Thereby hangs a tale.
Okay.
And you're welcome to look that up. Check that out.
Okay.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
One of the most recognizable faces ever.
Mm-hmm.
Good looking face.
Mm-hmm.
Why you make him a brain in a robot body? He'll just be a CGI character.
Yeah, I know.
You could have got anybody for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a good point. We're not going to see his face.
There's a real dearth of faces in the Doom Patrol, except for Niles Calder, because Negative Man's face is in bandages all the time.
Oh my God.
Robot Man is a robot. I think they're putting Cyborg in it, but it's like Beast Boy is like really the Doom Patrol guy. But he's turning into animals all the time.
Right.
So he just could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Pick a better DC Universe role for Brendan Fraser. The Creeper. Done. Did it already. I already did it.
Yeah, I don't know. He'd be a good, I think he'd be a good Riddler. Maybe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How old do we want our Wildcat to be?
I'm not really familiar with Wildcats.
He's an
I
old...
don't know.
But he wears a cat costume and he boxes. Look, it's comic book, man. I don't know.
That would work. I could see that.
We'll get him back in near George of the Jungle shape.
Sure.
Right? And then he's playing kind of against type because Wildcat's like a Ted... What's his name? Can't remember his name. Bad DC fan. He's a hard-bitten, flea-bitten, type character. And Brendan Fraser is like, hey, what's up? I'm blasting from the past. We have him play against type, grow like a weird beard and just be like, Wildcat.
All right.
It's going to teach Batwoman to fight.
Okay. That sounds good.
And
does he fight crime?
improv class D-. You know what you got?
Hey.
D-.
Sorry.
Click.
When the truth is found to be lies, and all the joy within you.
I think the title of this show is The Gift of the Bad Jai.
Yeah, yes.
That's bad jai, by the way.
Yeah.
Bad jai.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into any this ain't Christmas triple X situation. Or AKA Tears on a Microphone. How did we get into this situation?
Well, we decided to go see, it's a Fathom event, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Which is by
Masaki Yuasa.
Masaki Yuasa.
Masaki.
Yuasa.
Yes.
Sorry. And Mr. Yuasa has done quite a bit of anime. So we decided to check out some of his other work, which includes the Netflix anime series Devilman Crybaby.
Did you call him Mr. by his first name?
Oh, damn it, I did.
What kind of
Mr.
Japan fan are you?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But we went and saw that film.
Yes.
Review imminent.
Yes.
Nigh. And I remarked that, I know this guy. He did the Devilman reboot on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can talk about that.
Right.
And so we saw that and we thought, okay, so that's two of a kind. Let's get three.
Right.
We'll watch his critically acclaimed breakout debut feature called Mindgame from 2004.
Yep.
Which is a little while ago.
A
while ago.
Yeah. It is.
And so we watched that. We had a response to that led me to say, I don't know if we can talk about Masaki-san.
Yeah.
Which is
okay.
what you should say.
Okay. Sure.
For a whole show, but we're going to.
Yep.
And so maybe we should think about changing it. Mindgame is a very both psychedelic and kind of nonlinear film.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we could talk about nonlinear and or psychedelic films.
Right.
Which led us to the film Enter the Void by Gaspar Noe.
Yes.
At which point we had watched about 8.5 hours of cinema and didn't have any time to plan anything else.
Yeah,
so we were done at that point.
You're absolutely right.
Yes. And that's how we ended up here.
Yeah.
So you kind of take responsibility for the Masaki side.
Yes, I do.
And I take responsibility for the Gaspar Noe side.
Yeah.
And so it's like the shitty gift of the Magi.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, you got me a bad fit, and I got you a bad. Oh.
Yeah.
House explodes.
Exactly.
On a wintry night. If on a winter's night, a traveler. If we did books, we could talk about the Calvino book. That would really bake your noodle. But we're not doing that.
Nope.
I think the best way to go is just to begin speaking about Night is Short, Walk On Girl.
Sure.
What's the premise?
The premise is there's this young girl who's kind of trying to be an adult, and she likes drinking a lot. And there is
well, hold on.
What?
But I'm going to buzz in on that one.
Okay.
It's not that she likes drinking a lot. It's that this is a coming of age, or sort of a type story for her. And so she is a university student, who is thinking about growing up and becoming an adult. And part of that is she wants to have the experience of, going out.
Yes.
And it's a real Baudrillard kind of thing. Like if she's she's seen movies and manga and stuff where, people go out and have like these, benders or go out on a thing. So she's kind of doing that.
Yes.
Because of that.
She's having all these fancy
She's like,
drinks.
I'm going to go out and I'm going to drink. And I've seen that Jim Carrey movie and I'm going to go out and just whatever happens to me, I'm going along with it.
Right.
It's called Haimon, I think.
I have no
Nothing.
idea.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't
hopefully
know.
somebody at home.
Okay.
So continue.
And there's this guy who's her senpai, her older student, who she keeps running into, like, oh, what a coincidence. But it's not a coincidence. He makes sure he runs into her quite a bit.
Right. And then they...
And then they...
You could break it off at hijinks ensue.
Yeah, hijinks
But try to
ensue.
give us maybe 50 more words of hijinks.
They both have this crazy night. A lot of things happen to them. And that they end up, like, he ends up having a cold, and...
Everybody does.
Yeah, she goes around to all these different people in Tokyo to take care of them because they have a cold. And she ends up at his place last because this older guy who she was drinking with was like, there's somebody lonelier than me, and, like, you should go visit him, and that sort of thing. And so she does, and he's freaking out about it because he doesn't want her to see his place and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he gives her the book that she's been looking for, like, from her childhood, and it's the one that she owned. And then he invites her out to...
Oh, I guess spoilers, I guess we should say, for
Okay,
the night of
sorry.
Short Walk on Girl. Jeez.
Sorry. And then he invites her to a used bookstore and a coffee shop, too. So that's kind of where it ends.
Do you want to tell us who the key grip is or anything like that?
No.
Or...
No, I don't.
Okay, great. That's pretty complete. What'd you think? No, you're not going to get off that easy.
Okay.
Let's talk about the creator,
Okay.
who at this point I'm completely confused. I recognize some, like, Japanese first names and some last names, but other ones are, like, completely obscure to me. So I don't know which one's his first name, which one's his last name.
Oh, okay.
At this point,
All right.
let's just call him Dude. I think his last name is Yuasa.
Okay.
So it is Yuasa-san.
Okay. All right.
He has not done a ton of stuff. I mean, he has done some stuff, but
Yeah.
he's like we said, Mindgame was kind of his first break on the scene. He's done a couple series, Kimono Zume.
Okay.
He did the Tatami Galaxy, which I think was kind of what he was known for before this, and
Sure.
Devilman.
Yep.
And he did like an episode of Adventure Time. He did an episode of Space Dandy. So he's clearly somebody who is totally fine, like, working outside of Japan or outside of the normal tradition.
Sure.
And just looking at his stuff, immediately you know, oh yeah, this guy doesn't care about tradition at all. This
No.
guy is going to try to push the medium as far as he can. And that's one of the things that I really respect about him. He gave a talk a while ago and rattled off like a bunch of his influences, from Tex Avery to the Yellow Submarine to Fantastic Planet to Nick Park, like Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And classic stuff like, Lupin and just everything.
Sure.
A
I can
real
really
kitchen
see the-
sinky type thing.
Sure.
I see a lot of like Ralph Bakshi in
Okay.
his stuff. He does have some rotoscope stuff, but not everything. I was getting kind of an Eon Flexi vibe too.
I can see that.
So-
It's
so that-
very fluid.
Yeah, the
animation.
fluidity,
Yeah.
and some of that is, kind of the rotoscoping when he does rotoscope. He also does a thing where he did this a lot in Mindgame, where it's still animation, but he uses like a trace or like an artistic rendering of what's clearly a photograph.
Yes.
It's like if you took a picture of somebody talking, and then you took or a video, and you took 10 frames out of that, and then you just assembled those frames together in animation cells
Yes.
in order to make it seem like rah, 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 I'm talking.
Right.
He's got that, although he doesn't use that in Night is Short.
No.
And I would say that definitely, like, Devilman is like probably the most conventional. And have you seen Devilman?
Yeah, I know,
Call
right?
it conventional.
Right.
It's like R. Crumb's Hell, or like it's just Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Also saw like some Don Bluth in there too.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, like the fluidity, like you said, the sort of exaggerated character designs, and then also like there's a real warm kind of flat color palette for the real world parts of Mindgame. that then, of course, turns into psychedelia like later on.
Right.
Kind of already talking about
Mindgame.
Back to Night is Short.
Yeah.
Night is Short is adapted from a novel, I believe.
Like they're like 4 short
and
stories.
it's a 4-part.
Yeah.
And it is based on, I don't know if it's supposed to take place in one night or not, but I know that the 4 stories are all use the seasons as inspiration.
Right.
So I just assume it takes place over a year.
Right.
Not in this movie.
No.
Because here's what Yuasa does. One crazy night.
That's right.
That's his thing.
Yes. I see a little bit of the Yellow Submarine in this stuff too.
For sure. Did you like The Night is Short, Walk On Girl?
I did like it. I really liked the animation style a lot. I thought it was really cool. They really made Senpai look like an anxious, ridiculous person. And the girl is
Lovely.
yes, right. But she's kind of silly too, because she does that like dance that the older people were doing, like when they were drunk, when they
The solipsist dance.
Yeah,
or whatever?
exactly.
Yeah.
That was really funny. That sequence.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity of the story in a lot of ways. I like that she somehow gets
Simplicity.
Well, I guess it's kind of crazy in a lot of ways too, but
It's just not Otome, the girl, and Senpai. It's Don Underwear.
Yeah.
It's the what do you call it? The Kenku guy or the Tengu guy.
yeah,
And then his friend, I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name either.
And there's the god of used book markets.
Yes.
And there's the whole, agitprop like guerrilla play that's going on.
Yeah. I liked the gorilla plays. I thought that was fun. Taking it up and putting it down.
My turn.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
At 92 minutes, okay, we're going to talk about some long movies in a little bit. But,
Yeah, we are.
At 92 minutes, when I'm like looking at my watch midway through, you don't got enough story here.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I don't know how, I haven't read this book, but I don't know how you run out of story in 92 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's going on? Also, I liked the idea of the intersecting storylines, which I was going to say it's like Mindgame, but that's not like Mindgame at all. But I like that kind of thing. It's like a good Seinfeld episode.
Right.
Everything
yes,
is
exactly.
the Fusilli Jerry and everything else. It's all
Everything's
going
connected.
to ass man. It all comes together.
Yeah.
I don't know why I picked that one. But I'm so tired of and maybe we're going to write his epitaph before we even get to the rest of his work, but for a guy who is exploding the visuals of anime and taking it to a place that probably has a lot of like traditional anime and manga fans and even creators going, no, can't do that. Mm-hmm. What are you doing?
Right.
I love that part of it, but his storytelling is so just bog standard, bargain basement, boil in the bag, every other bee that you can get. It's like, I hope this guy, he really wants to make it happen with this girl.
I know.
And then the girl is like, she's ostensibly the main character, but not. She doesn't really have any conflict. She just wants to experience life. She does. She succeeds at everything because that's the kind of movie we're watching.
Right.
And he gets her the book at the end, and he's rewarded with a relationship with her.
Right.
And they get together.
Right.
These are all things that any other movie we go, bad.
Yeah.
Played out,
I
done
see
to death.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned before she's like a manic pixie dream girl.
She absolutely is. And the way that, and I'm describing 99% of manga, except for good stuff. Like we've seen stuff that doesn't do this. That's the stuff that draws me in. Things that aren't doing what we've seen a million times before. Mm-hmm. No, once again, I was going to give Mindgame a compliment, but I think we're in the same boat.
Okay.
Boats,
no.
literally. So we'll wrap up here on Night is Short, Walk On Girl. I just wish that I think that he is adapting something here. But when we look at Mindgame, which we'll get to again, I think he's better off lending his visuals to other people's stories. Like, for instance, something we'll get to. You're right. We're totally doing it already.
Yeah.
But I still kind of want to just randomly chop up the show into like 30-second fragments.
Okay.
Like Devilman Crybaby, he's taking Go Nagai's like whole thing and just doing like a real fast like reinterpretation
Yeah,
of it.
no kidding.
Yeah, fast.
Really fast.
Why can't he do that for everything?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know if people will have a chance to see Night is Short. Maybe they'll do another Fathom event. I have to imagine it's going to come out on Blu-ray real fast here.
I would think so. Yeah.
That's something that I probably should have looked up. And if it will, I'll put a link in our show notes to it.
Okay.
I know it sounds like we're saying don't see this movie. I'm not necessarily. What I want when I sit down and pay $15 to see, something beamed in from somewhere, I expect it to really rock my world. Visually, it did, and it did open the door for me into checking out more stuff that I did like from Yuasa San
Yeah.
Dono. But yeah, I don't know. The visuals alone, I think, make this worth it. But want that better story. I get it. Shy student wants a girl.
Right.
Hope he gets her.
That's the gist of the story,
Yes,
for sure.
Absolutely. To the point where, also, here's an influence that he doesn't cite, but it's there. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Mm-hmm. Because the character, Sensei, goes into like a full-on Shinji fugue in the last 15 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Where he is completely paralyzed. We go shift totally to him, walk on guy, or think on, and he's just being torn apart like internally by just the stress of like, I really like her, but I respect her, but I want to squeeze her boobs, but I also, I'm wondering if she likes me and all this stuff. And yeah, we get it, but it's like this 12-minute sequence. But she fights through all that and gets to him because she's a manic pixie.
That's right.
You didn't defend this one very hard.
I don't know. I enjoyed the story. I guess it is something that I've seen over and over again, so it's not something super unique. I was kind of rooting for Senpai, but at the same time, he's kind of a weirdo and a little bit of a creep that he's like trying to bump into her all this time. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of sweet that they were going to meet and go to a used bookstore.
I did like the God of Used Book Markets.
Yes, that was fun.
That was a movie all on its own.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like that's a Studio Ghibli movie right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about his first feature, Mindgame.
Okay.
This came out in 2004, and I apologize for not calling out any of the voice actors in any of these films. Maybe you're familiar with them, maybe you're not. Respect, much respect.
Right.
I enjoyed a lot of the performances of them, but so we're going to skip those and just talk about the writers and directors. We're talking about Mindgame. In this case, this is his feature debut. He directed it. He wrote the screenplay for it, and that's yeah.
That's about it.
Well, I mean, that's what else is there?
Yeah.
Now this one isn't all that long either. It's 103 minutes. Feels like a million.
It feels so much longer.
Feels like a
than
million
that.
minutes.
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, well, I guess I know why. It just...
Can you...
Can I give a synopsis?
Synopsize Mindgame.
I'm going to try. There's this guy, Nishi, who really likes this girl, Myeon, and he runs into her after not seeing her for a while. They're in college, I think. And they went to high school together, and they had crushes on each other. But she's now engaged to somebody else, and she's going to get married, and he's kind of a scaredy cat.
Is he a shy young man?
Yeah, he's a shy young man who's
really hoping he can
make
it happen?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's not Yuasa-san's fault. Like it is 99% of anime, but
yeah, it is
revolutionary.
Yeah. And he's an aspiring mangaka.
Mangaka?
Yeah. Yeah, he's working and trying to make it as a manga artist.
Cut. cut to the chase here.
Okay. They go to her and her sister's yakitori restaurant, and these yakuza come in looking for her dad, and he cowers in the corner, and one of the yakuza like kills Nishi, and then Nishi like dies and like goes to heaven or sees God at least.
Kami-sama.
Yeah. And then he rushes back towards the light. He's like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to live again, and I'm going to show Mion that I love her and all this stuff.
Yep.
And Kami-sama lets him go, lets him do this.
He's more like, yeah, all right.
I know.
Yeah, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then instead of the Yakuza killing Nishi kills the Yakuza.
Right.
And then they're in a car chase from the Yakuza. And then after...
This, I like your choice of and then, because this entire movie is just one and then, and then, and
it
then.
It is.
So let's go through it, yes.
Okay.
So they piss off the Yakuza, who are
Yes.
soccer-obsessed Yakuza.
Yeah, and the World Cup is going on.
And then the World Cup is also going on.
Yep.
And which, by the way, by the time we get to the end of the film, they talk about the last game of the World Cup. So I guess we
Yeah.
can assume that this takes place over like 2-3 weeks, however
Yes.
long the World Cup lasts.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and then they go on a giant car chase throughout the city.
Yep.
And then they jump off a bridge and they're swallowed by a giant whale.
Yes.
And then inside the whale, they meet an old man who's been living there for 30 years.
Yes.
Who then turns out to be the father of the Yakuza, one of the Yakuza that was chasing them.
Yep.
And then they live a crazy Leonardo DiCaprio on the beach life inside the whale
Yeah.
for most of the film.
Yes.
If you ask me like what this film's about, it's like it's kind of like a Run Lola Run kind of series of vignettes, about like this person who's like dead but keeps trying to do things over and over again. No, that's the first act.
Yes,
and then the rest
exactly.
of the film is set inside of a whale.
Yes. Yes. You got it exactly.
And then there's 40 more and thens, but I don't
No.
think we need to get into it.
Uh-uh.
I mean,
So-
you can't spoil this.
No.
Something that struck me about this film is the choice to include at the very beginning and the very end the kind of thing that I was looking for this show to be about.
Okay.
Really stretching the bounds of storytelling, really throwing away plot and keeping character, and just they show like the lives of the 4 or 5 different characters that are the main characters of this, and we just get like flash, 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 flash. And I guess in animation you can do whatever you want. It's not like you have to build a set and it's like we paid for the set, we're using it.
Right.
It's going to be set here, but you still have to do cells and stuff like that, and you can't use background cells. So like the intensity and the amount of work it must have taken to show, and I don't know how many cuts it was, let's say 50, I think that's probably conservative.
Yeah.
50 different scenes of just I'm punching a guy in a bar, I'm breastfeeding my baby, we'll get to it, I'm working in a shop, I'm handing things down on the street, I'm
Right.
combing my hair, like
Right.
it's just all these little slices of life. Like I want this, like
Yeah.
great, here we are.
Right.
No, that's just the beginning. And then we go into the story, and then we go into the whale, and it's
Yeah.
just in the whale.
Yeah.
And something else that I guess how I do if I like this or not.
I'm guessing no.
This was a real watch looker for me.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can't get around it. Like the visuals are fantastic. Probably for me, both the pinnacle and the nadir of the film was the balloon dance sequence inside the whale. Where
Oh my god.
Mion's sister, whose name I can't remember now.
I think it's like Yang or something like that.
Yay?
Yang,
Okay.
I think.
Isn't it now here? Okay. Well,
Yan. It's Yan.
Jan. All right. We'll get to that in a second. They go on this, like, I think it's supposed to represent not partially, it's supposed to be halfway like the carefree life that they live here in the whale. This is
Yeah.
their Hakuna Matata sort of moment.
Right.
But it's also maybe like a little too, the smile's like really smiling, like they're kind of losing it, like being
Yeah.
isolated.
Uh-huh.
So it's like this crazy sequence of like trippy colors, and Jan is like dressed up in this outfit, and she's got like they have all this junk in the whale that the whale has
Yeah.
swallowed, so it's like a cargo culty castaway kind of thing.
Yeah.
And apparently they got balloons somewhere, so she's got like
Yes.
balloons on her boobs that she fills up with water, and there's like fish swimming in water, and then she blows up like a balloon dick too.
Yeah.
And then she's going like boom, 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 boom. She's running around.
Exactly.
And then the guys like string like cardboard tubes to their dicks, and then people are like playing double dutch on their dicks.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I know. I was like, what is happening?
but if you just sat me down, like say you took me to like a modern art museum,
Okay.
and you just said, here's a 15-minute short by a Japanese filmmaker and
Sure.
anime guy, and it was just like the craziest parts of
the whale.
what I'm describing.
sequence. Yes.
I'd be like, interesting, huh? Wow, it's really out there.
Right.
Removed completely from context, nothing there. But you have a story, and I'm locked into your story, and then you abandon your story. But even before you abandon it because he can come back from being dead in reverse time. So nothing
Right.
has any weight. And I know you're saying, just relax and enjoy it. All right, but then, make it more enjoyable. Because like I said, what you hooked me in with was a series of images. And the human brain is amazing in that even if you just show me, I was actually reading about this in the spare time that I had with all these long-ass movies we watched. Because we watched 10 hours of Devilman Crybaby.
Right.
But I was reading an article about the mind's ability to assemble narratives from things. It's one of the things they do when you get hit in the head, when you suffer a brain injury.
Yeah.
They'll give you like a list of things, and it's like, Judy's got a box, and she opens it, and there's a puppy. And then later on, she's burying the puppy. Maybe not this.
Okay.
Maybe not this.
All right.
I got fired from my job writing medical aids, but... and you start to put a story together. It's like, oh, I'm interested in the stories of these people. The movie is just basically us discoing inside of a whale.
Yeah. Yeah. The part that you're talking about where she like splashes different color paint on herself and with the water balloon boobs and then like presses herself against paper that they have. And it's on a crank and it's circular.
That was the sort of Bakshi-esque stuff.
Like you said, if it was on its own, like it would
Fantasia.
be
Fantasia.
Yeah.
Once again, we're getting ahead of ourselves because we want to talk about nonlinear narratives and
Right.
also cinematic tone poems. But like, if you saw something like that in Fantasia, it just detached from anything else, and you're supposed to go, oh, okay, yeah,
Right.
right.
But like,
And I don't mean like the alligator dances with the hippo part of Fantasia. Like, I
Right.
mean the parts where it's literally just things appear on screen and there's music.
mm-hmm. But this, I feel like, almost took me out of it because I felt like, what am I watching?
Well, you have just enough information about the characters and what's at stake here that you keep thinking this has something to do with something.
Yeah, like
And
this is
the
going to help
answer
them
is,
get out
it
or
does
something.
not.
No,
It does not.
no, there's no weight. He tells the story. Nishi tells the story to Mion at one point where there's people on a planet and they eat this one creature's poop.
Yes.
And then suddenly they're inside Mion and like he's like, don't flush them, they're coming out.
Right.
It's like, oh my god.
And that's the thing that ultimately breaks the ice between them.
Yeah.
Because she's had a fiance this entire time. And he really wants to get with her, but that's what seals the deal.
The poop story, she's like, I want to have sex with you.
The eating
now.
poop story
Yeah.
works every time. Forget your Colt 45.
I just, come on.
Well, it's supposed to be weird.
I know.
I can't remember if this was part of that, but there are these sort of flights to other places, and there's one where he has a fantasy that he is now a very famous mangaka.
Yeah.
And his fans come up to him, and they do that thing where it's like, oh, do you have any advice for us? And it's like, do your best all the time. And they do that, like the pastel, emphasis, like single frame type thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes and like eats crab with them and stuff like that. And yeah, anyway.
I know.
That I could relate to that because that's what he wanted. It was like I don't know if the movie was trying to say, because ultimately the movie is, here's the end. The end is they all have to work together to row fast enough to get out of the whale's mouth, but also run?
Yes.
That's just a surreal part. That doesn't really matter.
It is.
But you have to wonder if any of this is actually happening.
Yeah.
There are movies that I like that use that, but there are sometimes if none of it means anything, I'm like, I don't care. I'm out. Why do I care?
Why am I watching this? Yeah.
But it's about working together, and it's about, not compromising yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, 99% of animes are about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as Yuasa-san can push the boundaries of animation, I'm going to harp on this thing. I can't push the boundaries of my criticism of him. It's just the same stuff. He's a young guy who, loves this girl, or thinks he does. Maybe he learns how to love her better by the end, living in the whale.
Right.
But he also loves her boobs, which are gigantic.
Yes.
We're going to talk about this in a second, but Yuasa seems to have a real thing. Yuasa seems to think that big boobs is a character description.
Mm-hmm.
What's his character like? Big boobs? Gotcha.
Right, exactly. Like that's a character trait that then I know what this character
all we
is
need to
about.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then isn't Jan, maybe it's unisex, but isn't Jan kind of a man's name?
I don't know. It sounds kind of like a man's name. I don't know off the top of my head, but
That's fine.
She does shave her head at one point.
Yes, she becomes very masculinized
Yeah.
as the film goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you... And then, so at the end of the film, we also get a series of lot of cuts, too,
Yes.
that are both flashes back, but also flashes forward now to what I assume are potential futures for these characters.
That's what I assumed.
And Jan is like an astronaut, and she's doing all these traditionally male things.
Bodybuilding.
Yes, and I'm uncomfortable with the suggestion that she has to become unfeminized in order to do those things.
Yeah. It didn't sit well
Japan.
with me either.
Japan.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Way back in The Night is Short, there's a character who is your typical Bishonen, like male kind of character, to the point where he often dresses as a woman.
Yeah.
And the women love him, the men love him, everybody loves him. And he gets into the situation where Don Underwear has unconsciously fallen in love with this character when he was dressed as a woman.
Yeah.
He's confronted with that fact. And I'm not saying that he instantly is going to flip orientation, but he is very uncomfortable about this fact. And the movie plays it up as much as possible until, oh, thank God, some other woman can run in and take the kiss from him.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, it's 2018.
Yeah, I know.
What are we doing?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, and at first it seems like Don Underwear is going to accept him, but then they're both like, oh, please, something happened. Like, both of them don't want it for some reason.
Which, considered
like,
completely separate from connotations, was funny.
Yeah.
that was a funny situation.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's like, what are you saying? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Uncomfortable.
It's like, men dressing up as women. It's still something to laugh at.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the world that we live in today, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. It's 2018.
Yeah.
Anything else about Mindgame?
It's
a very navel-gazy
yeah.
thing. And I think I asked you off the air. It seems like all navel-gazing films are all I gotta become something more. I gotta put away these childish things.
Exactly.
They're all by male creators.
Yes.
Do women ever write stories like that? And the answer is yes. I'm sure it is. Tweet to us. Let me know. But it just seems like all these jerk-offy films are by men, and I guess you have to have something to jerk.
Yeah, I guess. Jeez.
Get me out of that bad joke.
I don't know. Yeah. Nishi and Old Man are both kind of pervs, so...
To the point, yeah, and the movie really steps on the gas to the point where we get it. This is a weird situation. You all live in an Ewok village inside of a whale, and so the toilet's not going to be world class.
Right.
But at one point, Mion, the sexualized female character who has no character other than her boobs.
Yep.
Who, by the way, Jan wants to go to space or whatever. What's his name wants to be Nishi wants to be a mangaka.
Yeah.
The old man wants to get back to his life and get forgiveness for leaving his wife and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. What does Mion want?
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing.
Like, at first it's like, oh, she wants to get married to Ryo, her fiance.
Right.
But
all she does is kind of realize that she's sort of taken Jan for granted.
yeah, exactly. And she...
Anyway, she goes to poop and everybody watches her.
Yeah.
And the movie makes a big deal out of them watching
I know.
her.
And then she's like, please keep talking.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, there's a practical side of it. And you go, what? That would be a problem.
Right.
Yeah, but your focus and emphasis of it is weird.
It is weird.
You weirdo.
Yeah.
We ain't even into the weird yet.
Yeah, I know.
So from here, last thoughts?
Last thoughts.
You don't have to make up any if you don't have any.
I didn't really enjoy this film.
No.
It was agonizing. The length, the
And
amount of time they spent in the whale. I kept thinking they were going to get out. I kept thinking it was going to be like another 15 minutes, like the first two, like when he gets killed and then he, meets Kami-sama and then they get chased by the Yakuza.
Is it all a dream?
Right.
Is this all his story
Right.
as a creator of manga? We flash when they get out of the whale. We immediately flash back to the beginning of the movie and to the older Yakuza guy. So it's
Right.
like, is it his dream or his imagine? Did he fall asleep in the car?
Right.
I don't mind narratives like that, dream stories, but I want to know whose it is. This thing is totally
And
detached.
it wasn't very clear.
They didn't go esoteric enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending, once again, if you put this in this hypothetical art installation that I've got, if you
Right.
got the ending where we just see that 4 characters have to row over this waterfall, or you cut and show us that it's a whale, they never really show the whale.
No, not really.
Anyway, and so they're rowing, and at one point the boat falls apart, so now they're just running. Remember running?
Right.
They're just running, and he's like, and then they get out, but they're still running, and he's like literally like they do that anime thing where they step on pieces of like shrapnel or rubble in the air, and then at one point he like steps on a fly,
Yeah.
and like all that was like awesome, but just in context of like, I'd like to finish the story now, please.
Right,
You're right.
exactly.
It's galling.
Yeah.
There's a cutaway. There's a bunch of cutaways, but there's one cutaway where like he's running and like he steps down and his ankle breaks
Yes.
because we flash back to him as a kid and his mother's like, "You got to drink your milk or your bones will be weak."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh no." And then, but it flashes back again, and his mother's like, "Oh, he didn't drink it. I'll just put it in his soup or whatever."
Yeah.
And then his bone like heals.
Yes.
I would have wanted like a whole movie of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's so tied to this just tired thing about like, I gotta become better and be a man.
Yep. I gotta have more courage and
Let's get out of this.
Yeah.
Let's,
Okay.
In our non-linear thing, let's just jump out of this.
Okay.
And maybe never come back. When I was thinking about non-linear narratives and kind of freaky-deaky psychedelic films, things that aren't so concerned about you knowing exactly what's going on,
Yep.
as is simply creating an emotion, a tone poem. That's
Sure.
what that means, literally. I was thinking about things like, well, Koyaanisqatsi, but that's maybe a little different. Any of the works of Michel Gondry,
Yes.
but certainly Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
yeah.
Tree of Life, bitch.
Yep.
Any
I
of the
know.
works of Terrence Malick,
Mm-hmm.
who definitely sets out to say, life is crazy, and sometimes you gotta take a moment to smell the roses,
Right.
or whatever particular thing is. He definitely sets out at the beginning and says, "This is what it is," and also it's Sean Penn walking around Dallas.
Right.
I should say that pretty much all of his films, Yuasa's films, are set in Kyoto,
Oh, okay.
as was Tatami Galaxy.
Okay.
Anyway, moving back. He sets out what it's going to be about. Knight of Cups.
Yeah.
Men make mistakes, and it's hard to avoid temptation. And then we
Yeah.
just see a bunch of unconnected things that resolve themselves into a narrative.
Right.
That was a big sigh. I like that kind of stuff. And so when I found out or discovered that this was what it was going to be, I just wished that I had liked it more.
Yeah.
Arrival.
Arrival.
There's a female navel-gazy thing
Yes.
that's about a woman
Yes.
and her baby,
Yes.
which all women things have to be.
Yeah, I know. I liked Arrival though.
Sorry.
I thought it was interesting the way.
You know who else liked Arrival?
Who?
Gaspar Noe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, he walked out of Black Panther. He didn't like the hip-hop music.
What?
Ask me if he's French.
Is he French?
Well, he's Argentinian, but he lived most of his life in France.
Okay. Great. That's bad. How do you know that he walked out of Black Panther?
Because I saw an interview with him.
Oh, okay.
But he did like Arrival, though.
All right.
Let's talk about Gaspar Noé,
Yeah, less.
the bad boy of French Argentine cinema.
Yeah.
He exploded onto the Cannes Film Festival circuit scene with his films like I Stand Alone and Irreversible. Irreversible stars Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel, two French actors. And this is the movie that it takes place in reverse. People don't like walk backwards, but it's like the acts are kind of flipped.
Sure.
And this is the one that's like there's a very brutal rape that happens.
Okay.
And you've now seen a Gaspar Noe film.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any cuts?
Probably not.
There are no cuts.
No.
So anyway, but then we go back and we see their lives like leading up to that and before that. And
Okay.
and people shit their pants over this film.
All right.
Thought it was great. And that was the bank robbery movie.
Right.
There's your context. And apparently he made a ton of money off of that, and it was also he could make Enter the Void,
Yes.
which is the film that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
It stars Nathaniel Brown, Paz de la Huerta, and I guess the three principals are them, and Sarah Roy
Sure.
plays Alex.
Yep.
And what's that about?
Enter the Void is about.
And when you do it, when you give the synopsis, you have to then give a slightly earlier synopsis, then give the entire synopsis again, then let the synopsis kind of trail on for an hour and a half.
Oh my God.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. It's about this guy, Oscar, who's pretty young. He's probably college age, and he's living in Tokyo. And he is white, and he is a drug dealer.
Which Japan, no bueno.
No. And
I mean, it's not good here, but
no.
they're real tough on drugs.
Yeah. And his friend Alex is trying to talk him out of it. His sister doesn't like that he does it, but it's the money from dealing the drugs that brings his sister over to Tokyo as well.
Right.
They're living together in this small apartment.
With short doors.
Yes.
The doors of Tokyo.
Yes. And a small mini fridge.
They never met a lintel they couldn't bring down by 18 inches.
Exactly.
Yeah, and their mini fridge, yeah.
Their tiny kitchen and tiny bathroom. And she is working as a stripper and
dancer,
whatever.
in a club called The Void.
No, it's
not.
Sex, Money,
That's right.
Power.
It's Sex, Money, Power.
There's this other club called The Void.
Yes, it's a bar.
That's a bar.
Let's not take as much time as Gaspar Noe took. In
Okay.
this film.
He meets his friend Victor, who he's the drug dealer for, at The Void, and Victor says, "I'm sorry." And then there's a scuffle. There's police there. So he goes to the bathroom, tries to flush the drugs down the toilet. It's not working. He tells them that he has a gun, so he'll shoot.
Smart.
So then they actually shoot him through the door.
Which has got to be, that's an investigation.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying shimata on that one
Yeah,
and losing their
exactly.
job.
So then he dies, and we see... Oh, I should mention that everything has been from his point of view.
It's POV.
POV. And so then the POV goes up above him. So he's looking down on his dead body. And
now he's a ghost.
Yeah. And then we go all the way back to his childhood and see things that happen. We see his parents get killed.
I'm tired already.
In a car accident. And then him and his sister do a blood oath that they're going to stick together.
I know.
No. And then they get raised by different foster parents. And yeah. They have a really weird relationship with each other. It's kind of weirdly...
But Gaspar Noe, it's not enough that two kids in the wake of their parents' death emotionally say, we're always going to be together. For him, it's got to be a blood oath.
I
It's
know.
Like, it's a pocket knife out.
I know.
Little girl's like, I hope you don't got the hep. Well, let's do this. So we get essentially through his recollections, which we're seeing from the back of his head.
Yes.
It's not POV now. It is
Right.
directly behind him.
Yeah.
To the point where we live through his murder again.
Yep. We do.
Yep. Then we go forward,
Yeah.
and Ghosty Guy follows the rest of the characters
Yes.
through the horrible pain of their continued existence.
Mm-hmm.
Until,
Alex is living on the street to avoid getting picked up by the cops.
yeah, watch out for those Japanese police, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
And bad things happen, yada, yada, yada. Let's do something that he's never done, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
and it ends. Shrug. It ends very uncertainly. Well, unsatisfactory, but definitely uncertainly.
Yep.
And it's maybe he's reincarnated.
Yeah, but it's like he's being born to his mom again.
Yes, you forgot that his friend Alex, who really doesn't do anything in the story except introduce Oscar to the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Yes,
which serves as the guidepost for his experiences, or at least what we experience throughout the film, and also the fact that he takes a big old hit of DMT right before he's killed. Gaspar Noe is an atheist, up and down, left and right. And so this may seem like a very spiritual movie, and I don't think that he would necessarily not like people describing it as a sort of spiritual exploration, but he's not trying to say that there's an afterlife. To him, this is all like a DMT trippy hallucination that Alex or Oscar is having as he dies.
Yeah.
Although there is the suggestion, maybe leaving the door open for that, somehow you're reincarnated into yourself or something like that.
Right.
And live your life over again.
Right.
For a guy that doesn't believe in ghosts, a lot of ghosts.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot of ghosts in this movie.
Yeah.
You have an idea. You have $12.5 million, or euros, I should say. You're your own editor and screenwriter.
Yeah.
So therefore, your movie is going to be 161 minutes long.
And you feel every minute.
And there was a long we watched the long version.
Did we?
There was a cut down version. I think there was a rough cut that was shown at Cannes, and everybody crapped themselves. Although some people have said everything that we have said. One person called it tedious and puerile.
Yeah.
And that would be another good
see that.
title for this show.
Yeah.
This is just a bunch of works. Oh, we skipped one because it's the best. We'll save it for last.
Okay.
That they're just tedious and puerile.
Yeah.
Because this movie goes on forever.
It does.
And it spares no opportunity to just be as depressing and gritty and vulgar and sexual and explicit as it can.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's Noe, up, down, left, right. That's him in everything.
Well, and then towards the very end of the movie, I mean, we can do spoilers, I guess.
Please save people. The Wikipedia entry for the plot in this is like 6 short paragraphs long.
Yeah.
There should be a law that it has to be 4 times that long. This does not tell you how long the movie is.
No. There's a sequence in a love hotel. And at first we were not sure if it's the model that his one friend has made.
It's both.
Okay.
Because they set this up early in the film.
Yep.
Where out of nowhere Oscar's like, wouldn't it be cool if like everybody we knew was in this hotel and they're all having sex?
Yeah.
And in the movie we cut to
everybody
what is clearly not like the street. It's like sort of the model basically, and all the characters in the film are all
present,
getting it on.
Yeah. And then there's some people who we don't know who they are because we couldn't see their faces, but their crotches were glowing. So
yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was weird. And then Alex and his sister Linda are having sex, and he goes into Alex's brain.
Sometimes he gets to possess people.
Yeah. And then he goes inside of his sister's womb and sees.
Yeah. Great. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, see,
it's
too weird,
much.
But I'm good with all that. If we had gotten to that early on and not had this, I would have cut the whole point is that you can tell it out of sequence. And also, Alex mentions that when people die, their spirit, is they see everybody they know, their spirit is encouraged to move on. Mm-hmm. And if they resist that, things will get bad. They'll start having nightmares and stuff. And I think that's the explanation of, and you could have cut this because there isn't enough of this, but that's the explanation of him. Suddenly he's alive.
Yeah.
But he's like a zombie or something.
I think he was inside a dream in his sister's head.
You're right. His sister's dream, but also just, the idea of experiencing these nightmares.
Yeah.
And that could have been cut. There's a scene later on where his sister is hanging out with the artist and his
Yeah.
girlfriend, or just another one of the dancers,
I have
and they're
no
having
idea.
like a big orgy or something.
Yeah.
Now that reel is what was cut out of the shorter, like theatrical American version.
Okay,
there's
sure.
a bunch. He knew that we could lose 20 minutes here.
Sure.
But I would have lost the whole thing. And we go back and we get his entire life story, and then the movie kind of starts again.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you? We see a lot of those images later on, and Noe does a lot of things where he's sort of calling out the connections, the overlap of some of these images. It becomes confused. There's these sort of hazy vignettes, of his childhood, where
Yep.
he's napping in the middle of the day and his sister's, napping in the bed next to him. And then later on we see him laying down in like his apartment or the same room, from his childhood, and he sees his adult sister there, and we
Yeah.
start to get these resonances between the images. That's great, but you could have done all that without doing a whole nother movie that is the story of the back of this guy's head.
Yeah. Right.
It's just not. This is not paced.
No, it's not.
He
at
cites
all.
Kubrick as a influence, and I guess I
Yes.
can see that. What do you think Kubrick would have thought of this film?
I think he would have thought it was tedious.
Kubrick would have been like, "You cut it up a little bit."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, Kubrick is weird, and he does all these weird things, but it doesn't.
Self-indulgent.
It's paced well,
Self-indulgent.
though. Yeah.
How about that?
Okay. Sure.
You know,
I feel like
I would
it's
argue that-
paced well, though.
Kubrick.
Yeah.
I
don't think so?
He basically just takes it incomplete on pace
Okay.
and just tells the story that he wants to tell.
Okay.
But speaking of tone poems, like a lot of his scenes are set up to give you an idea or a feeling about something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, the first thing that springs to mind is like the non-verbal storytelling, like when the astronauts are like talking about Hal and about how like, I
Sure.
don't know if we can, we got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
And we have that sequence where we see Hal, looking at them.
Yeah.
And without telling us anything, we understand that Hal is like reading their lips. And that
Yes.
scene goes on for like a while. Like,
Yeah.
we kind of get it.
True.
Even back in 69 or whatever, I think audiences could have got that. But we stay there because the sort of dread goes, because we kind of, without seeing a face or anything, we kind of get the idea that Hal is kind of becoming
Malicious.
dread.
Yeah.
But malicious, but he's also thinking, these guys are going to kill me. And like his computer sort of fear or concern is kind of rising.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way that Kubrick uses his things. Now, you can argue with me about the monkey beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Does that go
Yeah.
on too long? Maybe
Yeah,
it does.
It does a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, I just think that Noe has these ideas and then he just sits and just marinates them into them, and it doesn't have to be that long.
No, it doesn't. We can get the idea. Like, we see his sister getting an abortion, and I mean that's incredibly clinical.
That's not, we see his sister getting an abortion.
Yeah, and then later they focus in on the fetus, which
Good stuff.
you can see.
This movie never met
It's like, oh my goodness,
something that it couldn't fly into.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not even consistent.
no,
Because it's always, we're going to fly into circular things.
yeah,
Presumably because he will be reborn at the end and come out of a circular thing.
right, exactly.
Got it?
Yeah,
But then, sometimes it'll be
swear.
a baby.
Yeah,
Or sometimes it's a square because then I want to fly out of one of the paintings.
yeah,
Just make the paintings round.
yeah, exactly.
This guy makes round paintings.
Yeah. Yeah, at one point we go up to an airplane and his parents are there and breastfeeding.
Yeah, his
baby
parents are in the
self.
plane. This is near the end where I think that his spirit is kind of having these nightmares and losing it, though, because he seems like he's going to fly up, we assume, to heaven or just at least away
Right.
from this area of Shinjuku that he is
Yeah.
obsessed with. And then he goes in the plane and sees a couple who couldn't be his parents, but they are played by the actors
Yes.
who are his parents. And I feel like that sort of spurs him to go back, kind of.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe he does. And there's that. And then we see the scene where his sister finally meets up with Alex, and they get in this taxi.
Yep.
And Alex has been homeless for weeks now, but it seems
Yep.
like things are going to be okay. And they're in a car crash. But we don't know if they really are or not, because it
Yes.
immediately cuts to...
The
So
Love
that's my
Hotel?
question for you. Let's try to get one thing out of this film.
Okay.
It's a very cynical film.
Yeah.
But it also seems to suggest that, and again, it's not spiritual, but there is some sort of rebirth possible, that there is something good in life, maybe,
Yeah.
I guess, flying
Right.
into a fetus, an
Yeah.
aborted fetus. Do they really die at the end? Or is that another
I don't
nightmare?
think they do. I think it's another nightmare.
But then they go to...
A love hotel.
But not a real love hotel. They are in the model with all the other characters.
Yeah.
It's a real Titanic staircase moment.
Yeah, it is.
So what the hell?
I think that's what really happens, though, even though it's kind of like a weird dream sequence.
It's both.
It's both.
Okay.
I think he's having more nightmares, and them getting in a car crash is a nightmare. It's kind of cheap, so I'm just gonna say that it's not.
Well, there's
real.
a lot of cheap stuff.
Yeah.
I wish there was more cheap stuff. It might move the movie along a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Nathaniel Brown plays Oscar. He is not. I mean, he's an actor. He's got an IMDb page, but he is an aspiring director, or at least was at the time.
Okay.
And Noe cast him because, number one, he thought that a character whose face appears only twice in the film.
Yep.
An actor is not going to want to play that character.
Right. Because you want facial recognition. And
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be uncomfortable doing that. Although Casey Affleck...
Yeah, I know.
Is that movie a remake of this? An
Oh my
American
God.
remake of this? Yeah, if
I hope not.
we had one day more, we probably would have watched that, and then
God.
there wouldn't have been any more shows from us. So yeah, he's that. He also thought that Brown would be, as a aspiring filmmaker, would just like the experience. Like he'd like to be on a set. And technically, I mean, you can't fault the technical aspects of this film. Like it really is incredible. Almost everything is, top down, which I think gets old real fast, but to accomplish that and to use the practical sets in which a character, we see the top of their head leave a room and then enter another room.
Yep.
The sort of crane work you'd have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the cheats, the CGI when we're flying through, some of those streets aren't real.
Right.
But blending that with, I mean, it's all, you got to stand up and give it for that. But in service of what?
I don't know. Showing the colorful Tokyo.
Not Ole Alexander. He played Victor. Cyril Roy, you can kind of tell, was not like a real experienced actor.
Mm-hmm.
You get that a lot in this film.
Yeah.
And I think it really weakens things.
Yeah.
Like the only real quote unquote actor is Paz de la Huerta, who I don't think is like super great.
No. She was the first one cast, I think.
Yeah.
In this film.
She can scream.
Yeah. I think she maybe...
She can strip.
Yeah.
Sometimes first of all, can we not have female leads be strippers anymore? Come on, man. But anyway, often they cast like a female, Jessica Chastain is going to strip in this movie.
Right.
And it's like, who would watch this stripper? This is very awkward.
It is.
But it's like, does she have another career? I think she can make a lot of money. She's a pretty good stripper.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean that's a compliment.
Well, and there's this weird scene where she's wearing a bikini top, but it's not quite covering her
They have
breasts.
a borderline incestuous relationship.
Yeah, and
it's a love story.
It's
and
weird.
He's French. No, it's racist. It's countryist. I'm okay with that. It's it's absolutely weird, but I liked the idea that it's a love story. They just happen to be siblings. Yeah. It's kind of like we've all gotten over that Jamie and Cerisi are brother and sister at this point, haven't we?
Yeah, you're
like
right.
It's just a love story between them. I'm not condoning anything. Check your local laws, but yeah, I mean, I thought that was okay. We understood his motivation and why he didn't want to let go.
Yeah,
it could have just been, I really care about her. Plus, that little girl's going to cut me if I don't maintain this blood oath.
Right.
But it did get weirdly sexual.
It did.
And it's like, get a girlfriend.
Yeah. Who's not like your mom.
Or your friend's mom.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But that's Noe's, he's a provocateur. One of his favorite director is Kenneth Anger. Like, he's trying to get a rise out of us.
Right.
He's trying to say, parallels between love and his sister is very sexual and he's sort of drawn in by that, and then he's also the Oedipal sort of memories of his childhood of his mother and stuff like that, and it's like that's the least weird thing in this film.
You think so?
Yeah, that's the thing that you can like chart psychologically.
Okay.
Like a therapist would go, oh yeah, sure. You show some therapists some of the other stuff and they're like, get out of my office. Any last thoughts? Let's get to the good stuff. We've earned it. Candy.
Yeah. There's a sign right across from his apartment that says enter. I just want to mention that.
Yep.
Because then he goes to the void. So
Yep.
there you go.
And everybody talks about the credits. In fact, when I've heard this movie praised, sometimes it's for the unique cinematography, but often it's for the credits.
Like the beginning credits
Yes,
where things
the
are
flashing,
just flashing at us.
Yep.
This is
The
not
use
a
of
good...
typography.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is not the first 30 seconds. Well, two minutes. And then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Like a roller coaster, which they ride.
It's not a film for people who are epileptic.
No.
There's a lot of flashing
There
lights.
is no version that you could watch.
No.
So I guess trigger warning there.
Yeah.
We did it. We made it.
Yeah.
Finally.
Whew.
Do you want to talk about Devilman Crybaby?
Yeah. Let's talk about Devilman Crybaby.
Okay. This is still on Netflix now.
Yeah.
This is real recent. And
Yep.
available on Netflix. I will also post. You can get Enter the Void on Blu-ray. You can get Night is Short, I believe.
Okay.
I know you can get Mindgame, so I'll have
Okay.
links to all that in the show notes if you want to check these movies out. But don't spoil Devilman Crybaby. Just give the setup.
I won't spoil it.
Give the setup.
So the setup is there are these two boys who grew up together. They're very different from each other.
Did they blood oath?
No,
Oh.
thankfully. Ryo is very like straightforward and practical, almost to a point. Akira is very.
There's a name for that. Sorry to interrupt. There's a name for that. He's that character in anime. You know, the pushes up his glasses,
right.
often wearing white clothes.
Right.
He's the smarty, the Spock type character.
Yes, exactly. He's a professor, so
Yeah.
even though he's really young.
18.
Yeah. And then Akira is kind of
Akira Fudo.
is kind of a crybaby. He cries very often at the drop of a hat. There's this one, we're shown this vignette of like this little kitten, and Ryo is like, it's going to die. You know it's going to die soon. Just let me kill it. And he gets like a razor
Got his
blade.
X-Acto knife.
And Akira's like, no, you don't mean it. No, it's not true. And all this stuff.
Right.
And then the cat dies, and Akira's sad, and he's crying. And Ryo is like, why are you crying? You
One is
knew it was going
practical,
to die.
one's emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens? Running.
Running is huge in this. Being part of the track team. There are demons in this world, and so Ryo comes back into Akira's life and is telling him about these demons and how we need to stop them. So Ryo takes him to this club that is highly sexualized. There are lots of women with just underwear on, gyrating.
Too much detail.
Yeah,
We
okay.
get it. Orgy club.
And so Ryo takes a bottle and literally starts cutting people so the demons would be attracted to this orgy of sorts.
And they are. What happens?
And they are. And Akira gets possessed by one, and he becomes a devil man.
What's that?
A devil man is a
Demon with a human heart.
demon with a human heart. So he's a good guy, and he's going to
All the strengths, none of the weaknesses.
Yeah.
He's the blade of demons.
Yes, and he's going to kill all the demons and protect all the humans.
Yes.
That's essentially the gist of the show.
That's the pitch.
Yeah.
Nice. It's 10 episodes.
Yep.
As long and indulgent, and I guess we've proven that those movies aren't that long.
Yeah.
But as long as they feel, and indulgent as they are, I feel like Devilman Crybaby is the complete opposite.
I feel like that too.
I'm not going to look it up right now. Of course, this is based on the original Devilman property by Go Nagai, which was even itself based on Demon Lord Dante, I think, which all have similar sort of stories. The idea that there are demons in the world, and Akira Fudo or a character like that is possessed by a demon and becomes the demon that's going to fight the other demons.
Right.
And then it gets apocalyptic.
Yeah, it does.
In the grand
Really
tradition
fast.
of anime stories, it starts off with we're a high school track team to the earth is destroyed.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to ruin anything.
No.
And I think, like I said, we should, as much as we can, not try to spoil this.
Okay.
Because it's a ride.
Yeah, it is.
Probably could have been 8 instead of 10, but I'm glad it's 10.
it
Because
felt
it could have been
good.
18.
Yeah, I
and there
know.
would have been so much filler.
Yeah.
Any other like anime or OVA or whatever, it just would have gone on and on and on, and we would have gone, oh, this week we have to run against these people, and
Right.
the show sets everything up and then immediately sweeps it away to get to the next thing.
Yeah, there was no filler.
And okay, Akira is a young boy who really wants to make it happen.
Yep.
He needs to stand up for himself.
Yep.
Except for that part. This is as progressive as the other ones are regressive, in
Yes.
my opinion. Even as the animation, in comparison to those earlier works we talked about, is the most conventional. And
Yeah, I
again,
would agree with
most
that.
conventional with crazy, like R. Crumb in Hell,
Yeah.
boobs with mouths in them,
Yes.
and just some really nutty visuals.
Yeah.
You know, it's so. Tell me what you think about this. Considered all 10 things, it's biblical.
Yeah.
Like, without giving
would
anything
definitely
away,
agree with
if you
that.
know anything about Revelation, we hit all the sweet spots of Revelation.
Yeah.
And it starts with, like you said, like we get the idea and the opinion that this is a world that is our world, but maybe a little in the future, that is, gone to the dogs. There are still nice Japanese houses
Yep.
where Akira lives with the Mikimura family.
Yeah.
But there is, sex and licentiousness, and like people don't care about it. The hot TV show is called Drug Lady.
Yeah.
Just like,
I know.
I don't know how that translates. I'd love to get the opinion of a Japanese speaker, but like, if you were just going to have, what's right after MILF Island
Right.
On Fox, Drug Lady.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could find a worse name for a lady, be Drug something.
Yeah.
Maybe the FCC will let it through. But
Yeah.
there is no FCC in this world.
No.
And the more you look at it, you're like, well, it's not that different from our world.
No.
It's very pointed in its commentary, its social commentary. I think ultimately the point or the moral of the story is that it's important that we accept each other. I think
Yes.
there's a real gay metaphor.
Okay.
There's literally a
Yeah.
gay character, which is very progressive, I think, for anime, and he's not judged for his gayness at all.
No.
But just there's a part later on, it's hard to talk about it without saying
Yeah, you
specifics,
don't
but
wanna
you know what I'm
spoil it,
talking
yeah.
about. There's a part later on where a character sort of does a thing, makes a post on social media, and
Yeah.
this show has a lot to say about social media, because
does.
often you see the comments that are like, F you, and like, oh, you're full of shit and all this stuff. But there's like comments where people are like kind of feeling what she's putting down, kind of accepting it, and yeah, I mean, the character we're talking about, of course, is Miki,
Yeah.
Miki Makamura,
Yeah.
who is a lady.
Yep.
She's I don't think that she falls into the sort of vein that we've complained about,
Right.
because she is perfect, but she's not. I don't know. Maybe you can take over for me, but I think that she is perfect, but she's not a manic pixie dream girl, and I think that she's a three-dimensional character whose only characteristics aren't that she's just perfect.
I think she has some flaws in that I think she's over trusting of people.
Yeah, her flaws. I'm too responsible.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm too punctual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think she trusts the photography guy
she's naive.
way too much. Yes.
Yes, because she's so pure.
Yeah.
And again, this goes into these sort of religious sort of ideas, but she's so pure that she doesn't protect herself against people trying to manipulate her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's the best runner at their high school.
Yeah.
And
Which,
Akira
running again, what
gets-
is it with
yeah.
Yuasa and running? As far as I know, the whole track running thing, that's his addition. Like,
Yeah.
that is not in the original
Yeah.
manga. Loves running.
Yeah. Akira gets better at running once he's possessed by a demon.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
I liked
So-
Miki. I liked it passes the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Because I liked the conflict between Miki and Miko,
Yeah.
aka Miki.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is a thing in Japanese schools. But yeah, the one girl's named Miki, the other name's Miki, but they like the one Miki better, so they call the other Miki Miko,
Yeah.
which is
Infuriating to her.
yeah, and she could just be another Miki. Like, she is somebody who is very fastidious, and she's a good runner and she wants to be great, but it's that sort of, you get this female conflict that happens, I assume in high school, where you have frenemies and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reducing it here, but
Yeah.
I felt that was well realized.
Yeah.
You have this awesome scene near the end where she, tells her that she, hated her for all these reasons, but yet she loves her because of course she loves her. And Miki's tells her, I knew that and I understood that. And you get the sense that Miki was hurt by it because she didn't know how to reach out to her friend. And it's just like, it's really touching.
Yeah.
And then the apocalypse.
Yeah. I know.
What do you have to say? I've been talking for a long time.
I think it's really touching in a lot of ways. Akira wants to save everybody. Like, he really, really wants that. I mean, that's the pureness of heart that he still has.
Yeah.
And he's not able to save everyone. And that's really detrimental to him. It just makes him so upset. I mean, yeah, he cries a lot. He's a crybaby, but it's not, I think a lot of times it's earned. It's,
he's selfless.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Even as a devil man.
yeah. And he really wants to save everyone. And it's upsetting when he's not able to do that.
And it's a real problem. I mean, I would call this cynical, but not like Gaspar Noé's cynical. I would call this cynical in terms of it being realist. Because the fact of the matter is, you can't save everybody, even if you're a super powerful demon. The most powerful characters in this thing aren't getting what they want.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do about it. And it's just a commentary on the human condition. And I like the fact that this it's very timely. I mean, it's so timely. We see Trump in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I know.
But there's a character who, once this sort of demon thing gets out there, starts to really play on people's fears and paranoia and turns people against each other with social media, with television, with demagoguery.
Yeah.
And it's all things that it's like, yeah, man. I mean, we don't have demons in our real world, but I could see this.
You got some
And the online comments are so shitty. And they're so... I don't know who wrote them, but they capture the spirit of being in a YouTube comment section so well to the point where, I mean, they call out. So you can help me with this maybe. It seemed like the Mikimura family.
Yeah.
I think the dad is white.
I think so.
But I don't know why they're not the Johnson family or something like that. But whatever.
Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe they're trying to assimilate. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so he seems like he's very religious.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fits with what we're doing.
He's reading the Bible with Taro.
Yeah. Which is Mickey's little brother.
Yep.
But they're like calling out Mickey for being a half-breed, which is like classy internet, classy.
Yeah.
But at one point somebody's like, her dad runs a vegetarian restaurant.
Oh my God.
Which is like, yeah, to somebody who is just, their balls are on fire, hating on somebody on the internet, like that's what they came up with.
Right.
I've seen that a million times.
Right.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
or one person's like, it's a demon fire sale. Like, what are you talking about?
I know. Well, I think they try to make Mickey look like half of a foreigner with her eyes.
She's got green eyes.
Especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're very big. So I think that they really are trying to aim for that. And people are rude to her because of that. Like, people are like, well, maybe you're a demon and that sort of thing. And,
They call her the witch.
Yeah. The witch of
something
high school. Yeah.
Cowabunga High.
Yeah. Because she's so fast, so she has to be a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, really, it's the white genes in her. No, let's go back in time, Ghost. Take that thing that I said away. Anything else? Is it more? It's like, what's my review? Jesus Man Crybaby.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this a lot.
It's not for everyone.
No, it's not.
This is not for kids.
No, it is definitely not for kids.
That's one of the things that I really liked about it. And even I watching it was like, jeez, sometimes. But it's for adults.
Yeah.
This is for adult people to contemplate. Mm-hmm. And I think it going over the top is part of its idiom and its point. Mm-hmm. You could do a PG-13 version of this, no problem.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think it'd have quite the flair.
No.
But it's doing that for a reason. There are, and plus you always run into this problem in like high school stories, but there are, I hope, high school stories always take place. It's our senior year.
Right.
And now that we're all 18, we're gonna ... you know.
Right.
And so you run into like a little squicky type stuff, but we want to tell a story that is about demons trying to destroy the world, but it is also about teenage characters trying to figure out what is going on with them.
Yes.
And I just think that you really like that. You get, and they don't belabor it. You get these little looks at these characters and their lives and their sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
There's this, that's why I think that the whole thing with Miko is so tragic, is because it's something that I'm sure some girls have had to face. Like, she was a runner like Miki and she was really into sports.
Yep.
And then her boobs got big.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you can't run, but
right.
I think that she feels like it's a detriment to her.
Yep.
And it's so sad that something that some people would be really excited about and is literally, you know, the evidence of her growing up and, you know, becoming a woman and not a girl anymore.
Right.
She hates because it gets in the way of like her ambition
right.
for what she wants to do, which is first just be a good runner. And then it's to like, you know, beat
Mickey.
that Miki. Yeah. And there's a great thing later on when her attitude changes for reasons where this whole time she's been watering these snapdragon plants outside of her apartment building. And we see her watering them, and clearly, I mean, the flower is, you know, it's a symbol of her youth and beauty and womanhood and all that, you know.
Right.
Need one hand to jerk. What was the thing I said? Got to jerk something. But then later on, like when things are going to hell, like she's sort of, you know, neglected all this, and she's forgotten about all that stuff. She doesn't care anymore. And we get like a real quick look of them all wilted, you know, and she's, because she's forgotten about that struggle anymore. She's forgotten about, you know, being a girl or a woman or whatever. She's just totally neglected that and become something else. And that is good visual storytelling. We can float around a bathroom ceiling for 10 minutes, or you could do that and we could just get on with our lives.
Yeah.
Last thoughts.
It doesn't waste time.
No.
And it
really
doesn't
have the time to waste.
No.
It's 10 episodes.
It's really keeps a sharp pace. And
campaign for a shorter anime.
Yeah. It's a tight 10, I would say.
That's my tight 10.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good storytelling. And
did you ever see The Big O?
I don't think I have.
A lot of people, well, some people don't like The Big O. I think The Big O was produced by Studio Flippy Flop, whatever the studio is, but it was produced specifically with a Western audience in mind.
Okay.
And so I think a lot of people in Japan are like, no.
Okay.
And I don't know, something else happened and it just never really broke wide. But it has a very cool premise and setup. It has an interesting story, but they're trapped in the whole giant monster kind of thing in that every week he's got to get the Big O out and fight some monster. And it's like, could we just kind of get to it?
Yeah.
Even Evangelion, which is 26 episodes and a couple movies, you run into that. Now, part of that is a commentary on storytelling in giant robot shows, in that, oh, what a weird giant robot show. And then it is not a giant robot show.
No.
It is not that. And we get there eventually, and it's sort of like it wouldn't work as well if we didn't have a couple sort of plain Jane robot episodes. Thermal expansion. So I wonder what this show would have been like if it was, like I said, just a little more, we got to win that race.
Right.
And then became what it becomes. But then it would just totally be ripping off Evangelion. And he's seen Evangelion.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we made that point earlier.
Yes.
There are some things in this that are like, oh, you're just going to do Evangelion now. Well, that's good. I like Evangelion. But that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Does every Japanese show that references or uses Christianity as a starting point have to check Evangelion? I haven't seen Silence.
I don't know. Maybe
At the end of Silence, you know, that Andrew Garfield movie, does a giant naked ray fall down on top of Earth.
Oh boy.
That's how the Christian thing wrapped up, right? In 17th century Japan?
I guess so. I don't know.
You're lost.
I am.
So let's go back through it.
Okay.
One Crazy Night?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. The Night is Short.
Yeah. Walk On Girl.
Up, Down.
I liked it.
Up. The Mindgame.
Down.
For you. Run, Lola, run. I'm sorry. Ghost float.
Enter the Void. Down.
That's a down.
Yeah.
Koyana Skatsi, which we'll watch for the show someday. You didn't see it.
No.
And Devilman Crybaby.
That's an up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
No religion in... Well, is there a religion in The Night is Short? It's not really part of it.
I don't think it's a big part of it.
No more than just in normal traditional Japanese society.
Yeah.
They make them eat the hot food.
Yeah.
Now you think that it's literally hot. It's not
it's literally hot.
Isn't there like spicy ramen or something you could eat? This
mean,
guy's asking themselves to damage themselves.
But I think it literally is hot to like the taste, like hot texture. And
why would they color it red? Because it's hot.
Because it's hot.
I don't know anything about anime.
Yeah.
Just making me eat hot coals. We should just play the beginning again here at the end.
Okay.
Just really screw with people.
All right.
Then we'll just play the entire show
backwards
out again after
or out
this.
of order.
Or backwards. Yeah. Oh, we made it.
Yeah.
Feels good.
It does feel good.
Would you want to do something like this again?
I don't know.
And be honest.
I'm being perfectly honest. I don't know, because some of it was painful to watch, but we think we came out the other side better. So.
Birthed into ourselves again.
Oh, man.
Finally, I get to suck on my sister's boob.
Oh, just what I always wanted.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. Someday I'd like to revisit the idea of psychedelic films or nonlinear narratives. There is a lot to dig into there.
That's true.
Instead, we got sidetracked into this. If we just want to wrap up, I want to say I'm looking forward to what Yuasa-san has coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that it's more things like Devilman.
Yeah, me too.
I think that he has a great visual style, and that's fine. And I think if you get him with a good screenwriter, you'll have something good.
Yeah.
But sometimes artists, they're just not. Or if he wants to just quit art and work on his writing, fine. But I think that's his bailiwick. Mm-hmm. This crazy kitchen sink approach that he has to art.
Right.
Well, something kitchen sink. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Just Enough Trope. If you have opinions about some of the stuff that we've talked about, we want to hear them. So please share them with us. You can also find the show, if you're not already finding it, on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, or on Google Play or Google Podcasts, or on Stitcher, podcasts.com. It's real. It's alive. Get it there as well. All the weird places. Can you get it by flying through a hole in a ghost room or something?
I don't think you can.
Maybe you can. You don't know until you try.
That's true.
Did we talk about Satoshi Kon's work?
No, we did not.
The late great?
No.
Yeah, he does that too. Millennium Actress is a positive, good example of a detached narrative that flips around and you don't know which end is up. And
sure.
I think you were talking about Paprika before.
Yeah.
That's good too. Because that uses a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
The idea of dreams.
Yes.
And film. Film and dreams.
Yeah.
What a neat combination.
It is a neat combination.
Sometimes. So find us there. When you're there on those services, leave us a review, would you? We'd love to hear from you and what you think of the show. And also subscribe. That is the absolute best way to know. There's a new show. Ding. There it is. You can listen to it. And give us a rating. It's important. We need to know what you think. Hopefully, it's a high rating.
Hopefully.
And if it's a high rating, then guess what? Those services will know that we're doing a good job. We can move up in those ranks. We can reach other people. So give us 5 cardboard tubes tied to your dick.
Oh, my God.
You can just do a double dutch, like you're running the tires at football camp.
Yeah,
Didn't you kind of
exactly.
feel like that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's very Fantasia.
It was.
I'd say see it.
Really?
Yeah. Just know what you're getting into. Have a dab hand with a fast forward button.
Yeah.
And just don't think that, Mindgame will not blow your mind. Oh, I want you to know something else.
Yeah.
This story never ended.
Oh, yeah. Right.
We didn't talk about pretension at all. Now that we're free and clear, don't be pretentious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Night is young. Or young, old, whatever it is.
Night is short.
Short.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretentious.
No.
For the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that really worked in its
favor.
So.
Yeah.
So ignore all that and just give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back next week with something else. So until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.
Shine